My ex sabotaged every relationship after him, so I made him fall for his own trap. My ex used to handcuff us together when we went to sleep, and I don't mean that in the cute, metaphorical, he wants us together forever kind of way. I mean that in the literal key in a box, I didn't know the code to kind of way. I only managed to escape when he decided to trust me enough to leave me in the house alone while he went to the corner store. I ran and never looked back. I always worried he'd track me down and call me, but that never happened. Until 2 years later when I found it in me to date again. The guy I was seeing had randomly ghosted me, and when I messaged him about it a month later for my own closure, he told me it's because my ex told him who I really am. My blood went cold. I instantly packed my things and moved. 6 months later, I was in another talking stage with a new guy, and after a few amazing dates, he also ghosted me. This time it was because my ex showed up to his workplace with pictures of his family and friendly advised him to stop talking to me. I went to the police about it, but they said that without further proof, there was no way to know if this was just a harmless joke taken seriously. I felt defeated, scared, and so I packed up in country. I met a guy named Tom there a year later. I hadn't heard of my ex, and since Tom was ex-military, I thought it would be okay. But I was wrong. 3 weeks after me and Tom got together, I hadn't even made a social media post about it, and my ex started visiting Tom's mother at her nursing home. She had dementia, and my ex would bring her flowers, telling her son was dating an SX worker who would give her son diseases. As if that wasn't bad enough, he got Tom fired by sending his classified military records to his employer with anonymous notes about Tom being unstable. We woke up to Tom's car window smashed a few days later. The seats were covered in pictures of Tom's family members going about their daily lives. His 16-year-old sister at the grocery store. His 10-year-old nephew was leaving school. We of course went to the police, and they were about as useful as you'd expect. Without proof, we have no idea who did it. My blood boiled. And when my ex approached Tom's nephew after school, Tom broke. He told me he loved me but couldn't put his family in danger anymore. I left that night. Not because he asked me to, but because I realized my ex would never stop. He'd already escalated to threatening children and police were doing nothing about it. Someone was going to get hurt. And it's while staying in a cheap motel that night that I realized something. My ex's obsession was a weakness I could exploit. And so, I disappeared completely. New phone, no social media. I let Jake think he'd won. For 2 months I studied him from fake accounts. I'd never looked at them before because of PTSD, but this time I forced myself to, and I saw just how pathetic he was. Desperate for validation. An incel. No driver's license at 29. This was the slimy vermin I was letting control my life. Not anymore. That's why I created Sophie. You see, Sophie was everything Jake wanted. A nurse who did yoga and believed in traditional values. She lived one town over and had escaped an abusive ex. I built her profile carefully using edited pictures of myself. She looked like me, just ever so slightly more in shape, and that made Jake feral for her. Sophie liked one of Jake's gym photos, and within a day he messaged her. I kept the conversations light but engaging. I made him work for every response. After 2 weeks he asked her out. Sophie said yes, but admitted she was nervous about meeting someone online after her toxic ex. Of course, Jake immediately went into protector mode, telling Sophie to take all the time she needs. For 4 months I strung him along. Sophie would agree to dates then cancel last minute. Food poisoning, car trouble, emergency at the hospital. Each time Jake grew more desperate. His messages went from clear and mannered to long rambling voice notes about how the universe was keeping them apart, how she was special, how he'd wait forever. The day Sophie agreed to meet him, and Pinky promised today she would, Jake took off work. He got a haircut, bought new clothes, posted about how today would change everything. I sent him to a coffee shop parking lot 2 hours away and had him wait. He sat there for 3 hours sending increasingly frantic texts. Are you close? Did something happen? Please just let me know you're okay. I'll wait as long as it takes. Finally, Sophie sent, I'm sorry, I can't do this. It's not you. I'm just not ready. Please don't contact me again. Jake lost it. 17 calls in a row, voice messages crying and begging. When Sophie didn't respond, he started threatening to end himself. Then came the rage. Messages calling her every name imaginable. Threats to find her, to make her pay. I screenshot everything and blocked him. He made a second account that night just to send me videos of himself in the bathroom holding sharp objects against himself. It was traumatizing, but deserved. However, there was one thing that stood out. His final video, he told Sophie he was coming to find her, that he'd found people before, and that it wouldn't be too hard to do it again. Full story where insane ex finds OP on channel linked below.